Hey everyone, Dr. Chris Painter, 40, Bungee, and September is Suicide Prevention Month. And did you know that in 2023, it was the second leading cause of death for those aged 10 to 34? And those who are highest risk are those for men 75 and older, and for women ages 45 to 64. Well, we have another testimony from Officer Tommy Barron talking about his experiences with suicide.
How's everybody doing out there? So I am Hockey Puck. I was asked to kind of share my experience with suicide and with it being the September and a month to kind of give awareness to it. I am in law enforcement, so unfortunately I have had several run-ins with showing up to a scene, to a house, an apartment, a car where someone has taken their life. And it is I don't know, I don't want to say like it's bad or it's whatever, indifferent, but you do kind of get callous to it. And over time with law enforcement, that kind of comes with it. It's desensitized, and you kind of see it and you're like, oh, here's another one of these. And it didn't hit me or impact me until it was somebody that was closer to me and I had a relationship with. And then it kind of, the gravity of it kind of finally sunk in that people are ending their lives because they are in such a bad place, or in a place where they think there's no way out of, or this world's better without them in it. And I never really grasped that until I would say is about 5 years ago. My sister-in-law, who was a freshman in college, her best friend took her life. And I'll just take you back to that week. So, close family friends, her parents were close to us. She was always around. She was always kind of palling around and going to all the local high school events. They went through school together, parochial school together, all the way up. And I got this call, and I was on a midnight shift, so that means I work 9 p.m. to 7 a.m. And so I was, obviously my sleep schedule's off. So I was asleep. It was during the day. And I remember waking up to a phone call thinking it's work or something's happening. Maybe I'm getting called in for something. And it was my sister-in-law. And I'm kind of out of it, but I'm kind of coming to. And she puts it on speaker, and it's probably three or four girls kind of laughing and giggling and saying, "You tell him, no, you tell him, no, you tell him." So finally, the girl that I'm talking about got on the phone and said, "Hey, I know you're an officer and I just need some advice because last night we were out drinking and I got in some trouble and I ended up in jail for underage drinking." And you could, her voice was very much down, depressed, kind of maybe ashamed or embarrassed, and it was hard to get it out, but she finally got it out. And I told her, I'm half asleep. It's a midnight shift. To me, it's kind of like, hey, you got in trouble. You can move forward. You could push past this. But you never know how a young woman takes getting in trouble if she's probably never been in serious trouble. So I kind of told her, hey, you're going to work through this. I've had several friends, and none of us are saints, so I obviously know what it's like to drink underage and go through that phase in your life, and hopefully you learn from it, but it's not the end of the world. It was kind of the message, and we can we can get through this. So next week, when are you going to be back in town? I'll be back in town next week. I go, okay, well, I will sit down with you. Maybe we'll grab lunch or something, and I'll kind of tell you the steps to kind of work through this, to get this behind you and get it off your record eventually, so you can go and apply for all those jobs you want. And just kind of gave her some hope of like, hey, I know you're in a bad place right now, but you can always come up from this spot. Don't feel like this is it, or this is like my future's ruined, because there's a lot to come with making mistakes and learning from them, and I feel like there's a lot of growth in there. So we had that conversation. Her girlfriends were in the background kind of giving her a hard time, but at the same time, like, you need to tell him and he's gonna help you out and get it off your chest. And so we end that conversation, and it was about 2 days later, so anytime any calls come in to our dispatch, typically they go through the communications operator, then they dispatch an officer, and an officer will respond to whatever crisis is happening or whatever emergency or assistance is needed. So our communications operator got a call from a university saying, hey, we needed somebody to notify a family member that their child is deceased. So we're having to make that contact. And typically, that call would go straight to a supervisor. Then that supervisor, along with a patrol officer, would go to the home of that person and make that contact. For whatever reason, this very new communications operator just sent me, as a patrol officer, the call. So it didn't go through a supervisor. It went directly to me. And I remember driving to that call and driving to that call and contacting my supervisor and saying, hey, this is what I have. And I specifically remember seeing the name on the call and being familiar with that name. And I told the supervisor, and he looked at me and goes, hey, that call should have never come to you. I don't know why it went directly to you, but we're going to handle it. I go, I'm actually familiar with this family. They're actually a family friend. So it's probably best that it comes from me. And as soon as the door opened and I saw Mom, she wrapped her arms around me, broke down and cried. And to this day, she tells me, like, I'm so thankful that you were the one that came to my door, and I just needed somebody that I knew and I was familiar with. And once I heard the message come from you, I knew that it was real. And she thanked me for being there in that moment. And there was probably 12 officers on that night. And I, to this day, think that was divine intervention. I don't think that was a coincidence, with all the different factors. But it's definitely a topic that should be brought up more often, and I think we all need to do a better job of looking for those signs and reaching out to people that maybe we've lost contact with, or that have become recluse and not been as social, or just haven't been themselves. It's definitely an issue. It's definitely something that I feel like we can do a better job of helping people get through those dark times. So that one stuck with me. I hope me sharing this helps someone out there, and I will do my part, to continue to bring awareness to this month. And I'll never forget that young lady and my experience with dealing with that, and just making it real, and not being desensitized to it so much now in my job. I kind of take everyone that I handle with open eyes and try to do my best with comforting the family members that are around at that time, and getting them through that very difficult time. So thanks again. See you all when I see you, hopefully in the gloom.